What's going on, guys? So I'm doing a rocker cover gasket on this Corolla today, and I thought I would show you how to do it. It's really simple, something you can easily do at home. As well as that, like little leaks like this, they get bad, especially over time, and the damage that you're causing to the other components in your engine bay by having an oil like this left for a long time is something that, for the price and how easy it is to do at home, you might as well just get it fixed. So I'll show you how we do it. So I'm doing spark plugs on this car as well, so I've already done one of the first steps, which is to remove your coils. Really simple, 10mm bolt on each one of these, unplug the connector, and they pull straight out. Now that we've got in here though, you can see that this oil leak, it's coming from around the rocker cover, and around the back here is really bad. If I can lean over, try and show you down the back, so you can see it actually down your exhaust manifold, everything. So that's going to be causing a smell. This was actually to the stage it's dripping underneath the car, which is really bad for a rocker cover gasket to be leaking that bad. So now that we've got the coils out of the way, first thing we're going to do is just these two breather lines here, just simple pinch clamps. We're going to take those off, and this wiring harness part just here is just a 10mm bolt. I think there's two, yeah, bolt the nut just there. We'll undo those and get that out of the way as well. Alright, so you can see I just stretched the coil harness out of the way, up over the back there. Next step is just going to be to undo each of these little rocker cover bolts, and then we should be ready to take it off. All the bolts are out, so that should come off. This one's really tight on there, which sometimes they will be, just from the gasket being old and basically baking itself together. You can tap them with mallets and things like that. What I like to do is just get a pry bar and just somewhere in like this, where you're not on a gasket surface, just give it a little bit of a twist like that, so we're not putting heaps of force into it. You don't want to crack off the edge of the rocker cover or something like that and be stuck with that repair. But you can see just a little thing like that, and once you've got it free, it'll move really easily. So rocker cover off the car, over on the bench. That way it's easier for us to clean this all up, because we want to make sure we get all of this out. This is coming out relatively easily, but these, as you can see, they're supposed to be nice soft rubber, just like our new gaskets that we've got in there. You shouldn't be able to snap them in half. So you can see why it's better to take this to the bench. Sometimes you're going to need a screwdriver to get in these edges here and make sure you get all of that old gasket out before you go putting the new one on. But shout out to Super Cheap too for our new gasket there. Alright, one thing I have done here while I was going is take this over to the parts washer and give it a really good clean, especially around the edges where we had all that build up of oil and road grime and stuff like that. Basically for a couple of reasons. Number one, you want it to look like you've actually fixed the part. Like, you don't want it to look like you haven't touched it. Number two is, you don't want to be looking at the oil that was already on that with a new gasket and going, is my new gasket sealing? Like, this way, if there's another oil leak from maybe we do something wrong, maybe the gasket doesn't seal properly, maybe there's a manufacturer's defect, something like that, you're able to tell straight away. New gasket is on, looking real nice and blue. That's pretty self-explanatory. If you can't put a new gasket on like that, probably don't attempt the job. But before we put this rocker cover on the car, what's important is to make sure we go over the engine. Let me grab this stuff right here, sorry. So around the top, where you can see where this seals, we need to make sure that's really clean. So you want to use some brake clean and a rag. There's not really a substitute. You really want something that's going to clean and not leave any residue behind. So degreaser and stuff like that won't really work in this situation. Alright, you can see I've got it really nice and clean, including around those spark plug tubes as well. The last thing you want to do before you put the rocker cover gasket on is you can see where you've got these little cracks and joins here on the timing case, little dot of silicone. By silicone I mean gasket maker. If you're doing a rocker cover that has little half moon gaskets as well, you want to put a little bit of gasket sealant where those half moon seals go, just to help everything seal up nicely. I'm here by myself today, so I can't show you actually putting it on, but when you put it on, you want to be careful that you're holding the gasket at certain points around the rocker cover with your fingers to make sure that none of it falls out, because the last thing you want to do is to put this rocker cover on, put all the bolts in, send it away, and then it turns out that it's leaking from where the rocker cover gasket's just fallen out of where it sits and it's pinched the gasket there. So you just got to be careful, make sure, go around afterwards and just have a look, and you should be able to see if that gasket's moved at all. So when you put all the bolts in and torque these down, you want to put all the bolts in sort of hand tight first, and then torque them down from the center outwards. So we start with those two, then go this one over to that one, back to this one, back over to that one. So you're going opposites and working your way out, and it basically just spreads the gasket out as you torque it down, which is what you want. So lumen hoses back on. Alright, so coils are back in, plugged in. So that's it, done for the actual rocker cover gasket change itself. That's all of it. There is a engine cover that normally goes on top. I'm leaving that off for now just because I want to take this outside, degrease and hose down the engine bay, because the person that owns this is worried that there may be more than one leak. So we need to clean it all up now that we've fixed this one, and that way we'll be able to easily tell if there's any others. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and that's the rocker cover on the Toyota.